Imagine for a moment the ground trembling beneath your feet. The familiar world around you begins to sway, pictures rattle on the walls, furniture shifts, and a deep, primal fear rises within. In an instant, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and the very earth you trust is no longer stable. Cracks snake across the walls, splitting plaster and brick with a sound like thunder. Windows shatter, sending shards of glass across the floor. The lights flicker, then die, plunging everything into darkness and confusion. This is nature's raw power, unpredictable, unstoppable, and utterly humbling. In these moments we are reminded that beneath our cities and homes lies a restless force, ancient and immense, waiting to be unleashed. We live on a fragile crust, a thin shell floating atop a sea of molten rock. Deep below, tectonic plates grind and shift, building up energy over centuries, energy that can be released in a heartbeat, reshaping landscapes and lives. Throughout history, humanity has faced the fury of earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, and storms. Each disaster a stark reminder of our vulnerability. These events have shaped civilizations, altered the course of nations, and left scars that endure for generations. Today, we journey through some of the most shocking natural disasters ever recorded, moments when the planet's might was on full display, and humanity was forced to confront its own limits. These disasters changed the world, not just in the destruction they caused, but in the lessons they taught. They revealed the strength and fragility of the human spirit, the importance of community, and the need for resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. In catastrophe, we confront our deepest fears and discover unexpected courage. We see neighbors become heroes, strangers become family, and communities rise from the rubble, determined to rebuild. These moments remind us how small we are in the face of nature's might, and how alive, dynamic, and unpredictable our planet truly is. The Earth is not a passive stage, but a living, breathing force, capable of both creation and destruction. As we explore these monumental events, let us do so with respect and humility, aware that the forces shaping our world are far greater than ourselves. In understanding them, we honor those who have endured, and we prepare for the challenges yet to come. The day after Christmas 2004, as families gathered to celebrate across Asia, a violent tremor deep beneath the Indian Ocean set in motion one of the deadliest disasters in modern history. The world was about to change in a matter of minutes. At 7:58 a.m. local time, a massive undersea earthquake, measuring 9.1 on the Richter scale, ruptured the seafloor off the coast of Sumatra. The earth groaned and shifted, releasing energy equivalent to 23,000 Hiroshima atomic bombs. The shock waves raced through the ocean, displacing an unimaginable volume of water and sending a series of giant waves, tsunamis, hurtling outward in all directions. In coastal villages, the morning was calm. Fishermen prepared their boats, children played on the sand, and tourists enjoyed the sun, unaware of the silent threat racing toward them beneath the waves. Suddenly, the sea receded, exposing the seabed, a strange and eerie sight that drew curious onlookers closer to the shore. But within minutes, a towering wall of water, some waves reaching over 30 meters high, came roaring back, crashing onto the land with unstoppable force. Entire communities were engulfed in seconds. The tsunami struck with unimaginable speed and violence, sweeping away homes, vehicles, and lives. Streets became rivers and buildings crumbled under the relentless surge. In Banda Aceh, Indonesia, entire neighborhoods vanished. In Thailand, Sri Lanka, India, and beyond, the devastation stretched for thousands of kilometers. The ocean's fury showed no mercy. Over 230,000 men, women, and children lost their lives in a matter of hours, across 14 countries. Millions more were left homeless, searching for loved ones amid the ruins. Survivors described the horror, the deafening roar of water, the desperate scramble to higher ground, the heartbreak of families torn apart. The human toll was staggering, grief, shock, and disbelief etched on every face. The devastation was absolute, homes, communities, and futures swept away in an instant. In the aftermath, the world watched in horror as images of destruction and loss filled the news. The international community responded with an outpouring of humanitarian aid. Food, water, medicine, and rescue teams rushed to the region. Volunteers and survivors worked side by side, searching for survivors, comforting the grieving, and beginning the long process of rebuilding shattered lives. The scale of the tragedy was overwhelming, but so too was the resilience of the human spirit. Stories emerged of miraculous rescues, of strangers helping strangers, and of communities coming together in the face of unimaginable loss. In the months that followed, the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning System was created, a global effort to ensure that such a tragedy would never again strike without warning. Scientists and governments collaborated, installing sensors and communication networks to detect future tsunamis and alert vulnerable communities. The world learned a hard lesson about the importance of preparedness and cooperation. We cannot tame the ocean, but we can learn to listen to its warnings and protect those at risk. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami stands as a stark reminder of nature's power, and of our shared responsibility to care for one another, to prepare and to never forget those lost to the waves. In the year 79 AD, the bustling Roman city of Pompeii thrived at the foot of Mount Vesuvius. Its streets echoed with the laughter of children, the shouts of merchants, and the clatter of horse-drawn carts. Life was vibrant and full, with citizens enjoying public baths, lively markets, and grand villas, adorned with intricate mosaics. Yet beneath this normalcy, an ominous presence loomed. Mount Vesuvius, silent for centuries, was regarded with a mix of reverence and ignorance. Few suspected the danger that simmered below its slopes, hidden from the eyes of those who built their lives in its shadow. On a fateful summer morning, the earth trembled. Without warning, Vesuvius erupted in a violent explosion, sending a towering column of ash and pumice high into the sky. The sun was blotted out and darkness fell over Pompeii as midday turned to night. Panic swept through the city. People fled through narrow streets, clutching loved ones, searching for shelter as roofs collapsed under the weight of falling debris. Ash and stones rained down relentlessly, suffocating the city in a matter of hours. Some sought refuge in their homes, hoping thick walls would protect them. Others gathered in temples, praying for mercy. But the eruption's fury was unstoppable. Pyroclastic surges, blistering waves of superheated gas and ash, swept through the city, instantly ending thousands of lives. When the eruption finally ceased, Pompeii was gone, buried beneath meters of ash and stone. The city vanished from memory, its people frozen in their final moments, their lives and dreams entombed for nearly 1,700 years. Centuries passed. In the 18th century, archaeologists began to uncover the lost city. What they found was astonishing: streets, homes, and even food preserved in time, offering a haunting window into daily Roman life. Plaster casts of victims made by filling voids left in the ash revealed the final, desperate moments of men, women, and children. Some were huddled together, others reaching out, all caught in the tragedy that befell their city. Today, Pompeii stands as a powerful reminder of nature's unpredictable might. Its silent streets and empty homes echo with the stories of those lost, urging us to respect the forces beneath our feet and cherish every moment of life. The tragedy of Pompeii is not just a tale of destruction but a bridge to the past, a testament to human resilience, curiosity, and the enduring quest to understand our world. In the ashes of disaster, we find lessons that still resonate today. In the summer of 1931, after years of unpredictable weather, China's great rivers, the Yangtze, Yellow, and Huai, became swollen with relentless rain. The land, already cracked from drought, could not absorb the deluge. As the monsoon intensified, the rivers rose higher and higher, their banks straining against the weight of the water. By July, torrential storms battered the region. Dikes and levees, many hastily built or poorly maintained, began to fail. Water burst through, submerging entire provinces. The floodwaters spread across the landscape, swallowing villages, towns, and fields in a vast muddy sea. Families scrambled to higher ground, clutching what little they could carry. Homes were swept away in moments. The scale of the disaster was almost unimaginable. An area the size of Great Britain lay underwater. Millions found themselves stranded, their lives upended overnight. The human toll was staggering. Entire communities vanished beneath the waves. Crops were destroyed, ensuring famine for months to come. Survivors huddled together on makeshift rafts and embankments, desperate for food, clean water, and shelter. Disease soon followed. With sanitation systems overwhelmed and clean water scarce, outbreaks of cholera and typhoid swept through the refugee camps. Medical teams struggled to reach the stranded, and the sick and weak perished in heartbreaking numbers. The death toll climbed relentlessly. Some estimates say as many as 4 million people lost their lives, making this the deadliest natural disaster of the 20th century. Mass graves dotted the landscape, silent witnesses to the unimaginable suffering. Yet, amid the devastation, stories of resilience emerged. Rescue workers, soldiers, and ordinary citizens risked their lives to save others. Communities banded together, sharing what little they had, and relief efforts slowly began to reach the most desperate. The floods exposed the urgent need for better river management and infrastructure. In the years that followed, China began to invest in new dams, levees, and early warning systems, hoping to prevent such a tragedy from ever happening again. The 1931 China floods remain a sobering lesson in environmental vulnerability and human endurance. When nature's systems break, the cost is measured not just in numbers but in shattered lives and lost generations. We remember the victims and the courage of those who survived. In the early hours of February 6, 2023, as most of Turkey and Syria slept beneath a cold winter sky, the earth began to tremble violently. A magnitude 7.8 earthquake struck without warning, its force so immense that entire neighborhoods were reduced to rubble in seconds. Families were trapped beneath the debris, their cries for help muffled by the weight of concrete and twisted metal. The bitter cold made survival even more difficult. In the darkness, neighbors became rescuers. People formed human chains, digging with bare hands, desperate to save loved ones and strangers alike. Just hours later, a second massive quake struck, compounding the devastation and shattering any sense of safety that remained. In Syria, years of war had already left communities vulnerable. Buildings were fragile, infrastructure was weak, and many had nowhere safe to go. Aid was slow to arrive. Roads were blocked, airports damaged, and freezing temperatures made rescue efforts perilous. Over 59,000 people lost their lives. Entire families were wiped out, and millions were left homeless, forced to shelter in tents or makeshift camps. The world watched in horror as images of children pulled from the rubble, both alive and lost, spread across the globe. Each rescue was a miracle, each loss a tragedy. International teams rushed in. Search dogs, medics, and volunteers from around the world joined local heroes in a race against time. Amid the devastation, stories of hope emerged. A newborn was delivered in the ruins named Miracle by her rescuers. Survivors clung to each other, refusing to give up. But the disaster also exposed critical weaknesses in construction, in preparedness, and in the systems meant to protect the vulnerable. Fault lines are not just on maps. They run through the lives of everyone affected, dividing the world into before and after. The tragedy underscored the urgent need for resilient infrastructure, better emergency planning, and global cooperation in the face of disaster. As the world sent aid and support, the people of Turkey and Syria showed extraordinary resilience, rebuilding, mourning, and holding on to hope for a safer future. In early November 2013, the Philippines braced for a storm unlike any before. Super Typhoon Haiyan, known locally as Yolanda, was rapidly intensifying over the Pacific, its swirling mass visible from space, a monstrous force of nature barreling toward land. On November 8, Haiyan made landfall with record-breaking winds exceeding 190 miles per hour. The roar was deafening. Entire coastal villages were swallowed by a wall of water as the storm surge, higher than any in living memory, crashed ashore. In the city of Tacloban, families huddled in their homes as roofs were torn away and walls collapsed. Streets became rivers, and cars, trees, and debris were swept through neighborhoods. Survivors clung to anything they could find, desperately seeking higher ground as the water rose. The destruction was total. Homes shredded, entire neighborhoods erased in minutes. The wind howled like a freight train, and the rain battered everything in its path. For many, there was nowhere to run. As dawn broke, the true scale of the disaster became clear. Over 6,300 people were confirmed dead, with thousands more missing. Survivors wandered through the wreckage searching for loved ones, their faces etched with shock and grief. In the days that followed, desperation set in. Food and clean water were scarce. Hospitals overflowed with the injured, and makeshift shelters sprang up amid the ruins. Aid was slow to arrive, and many waited in the open, exposed to the elements. Yet amid the devastation, stories of resilience and hope emerged. Neighbors helped neighbors, strangers became family, and communities banded together to clear debris and care for the vulnerable. Volunteers from around the world arrived, bringing food, medicine, and comfort. The storm exposed the vulnerability of coastal populations in a changing climate. Haiyan was a brutal warning, a glimpse of the new realities we face as sea levels rise and storms grow stronger. For the people of the Philippines, recovery was slow and painful. Children returned to school in tents, families rebuilt homes from scraps, and the memory of lost loved ones lingered in every corner. But the spirit of the survivors shone through, undaunted, determined to rebuild. Super Typhoon Haiyan stands as one of the most powerful storms ever recorded. Its legacy is a call to action, a reminder that preparedness, adaptation, and global solidarity are more urgent than ever before. The story of Haiyan is not just about loss, but about the strength of the human spirit. It is a testament to the courage of survivors, the compassion of strangers, and the power of communities to rise from the rubble, together. On January 12, 2010, as dusk settled over Port-au-Prince, the ground began to tremble beneath the feet of millions. Haiti, a nation already burdened by poverty and political instability, was about to face one of the most catastrophic disasters in modern history. At 4:53 p.m., a magnitude 7.0 earthquake struck just 16 miles west of the capital. The earth convulsed violently, sending shockwaves through the city. Buildings swayed, then crumbled as terrified families clung to each other, their world collapsing around them in a matter of seconds. In just 35 seconds, the city's fragile infrastructure was reduced to dust. Hospitals, schools, and government offices, places of hope and order, were instantly transformed into piles of twisted rebar and shattered concrete. The National Palace, a symbol of Haitian resilience, lay in ruins. Streets once filled with laughter and commerce became unrecognizable, blanketed in dust and debris. Survivors wandered in shock, searching for loved ones, their cries echoing through the chaos. Over 316,000 lives were lost in the devastation. Entire families were buried beneath the rubble. More than 1.5 million people were left homeless, forced to sleep in makeshift camps under tattered tarps, exposed to the elements and uncertainty. Aid was slow to arrive. Roads were blocked by debris, and the airport was overwhelmed. Survivors dug desperately with bare hands, hoping to rescue loved ones trapped beneath collapsed homes. The air was thick with dust, grief, and the sound of prayers. In the days that followed, a deadly cholera outbreak swept through the camps, compounding the tragedy. Hospitals overflowed and medical supplies ran dangerously low. The most vulnerable, children, the elderly, the injured, suffered the most. Haiti's disaster was magnified by decades of poverty, weak institutions, and a lack of preparedness. The quake revealed how social fragility can turn a natural disaster into a humanitarian catastrophe. The world watched in horror, and then responded with an outpouring of support. Amid the devastation, stories of courage and hope emerged. Neighbors formed human chains to clear debris. Doctors and nurses worked around the clock, often without rest or resources. Children found ways to smile even as they faced unimaginable loss. The road to recovery was long and uncertain. Rebuilding homes, schools, and hospitals required not just money but trust and determination. International organizations partnered with local communities, but progress was slow and setbacks were many. Yet the spirit of the Haitian people endured. Through music, faith, and community, they found strength to move forward. The memory of those lost lives on in every rebuilt classroom, every restored street, and every hopeful face. The 2010 Haiti earthquake stands as a stark reminder of nature's power and the importance of resilience. It teaches us that disaster can strike anywhere, but the strength of the human spirit can shine through even the darkest of times. These disasters are more than just moments in history, they are powerful reminders etched into the memory of humanity. Each catastrophe, each loss, and each act of survival tells a story that echoes across generations. They are not just warnings, they are calls to action, urging us to look beyond the rubble and see the opportunities to rebuild, to grow stronger, and to unite as a global community. These events reveal the immense power of nature, forces that can reshape landscapes in moments and test the limits of our resilience. But they also reveal our fragility, the delicate balance of our lives, and how quickly everything can change. Yet, in the aftermath, we witness the extraordinary strength of the human spirit. We see neighbors risking their lives for one another, strangers offering comfort, and entire communities rising from devastation with hope and determination. We must learn from these tragedies. Preparation is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Early warning systems, strong infrastructure, and education can mean the difference between life and death. We must respect the forces of our planet, understanding that we are guests on a living, ever-changing world. Our actions, how we build, where we live, and how we respond, shape our future. Support disaster relief efforts, volunteer when you can, and donate to organizations that bring hope to those in need. Every act of kindness, no matter how small, helps rebuild lives. Educate yourself and others, share knowledge about emergency preparedness, evacuation plans, and the importance of community support. Awareness is the first step toward resilience. We cannot stop disasters from happening, but we can reduce their impact. By investing in resilient infrastructure, supporting science, and fostering global cooperation, we honor those who have been lost and protect those yet to come. Let us build back not just what was lost, but something better, communities that are safer, more connected, and more compassionate. Let us remember the lessons written in the rubble and carry them forward with wisdom and foresight. Our planet is alive, and so are we. By respecting its power and honoring our shared humanity, we can face the future with hope. Together, we can build a world that is not only prepared for disaster, but one that thrives in the face of adversity.